Welcome to episode 26 of the WireTap podcast with Alex and my new co-host.
It's Carlos, man. What are you talking about? What do you mean?
Because
You're the
you
one
lost the
everyone-
beer.
Do you want me to
It's
change my
lost-
voice? I'm a new co-host. My
You
name is
lo-
Wilbur, and I'm new, and I don't understand technology. So my grandson started the Zoom. I love the name Zoom. Maybe we'll zoom by this thing here. What is this called? A podcast?
No,
Yeah,
man.
so
I
for our
just
listeners,
had to shave the
I was gonna say
beard, man.
really quick for our listeners, on Spotify or iHeart or iTunes and all those platforms that are not watching the
Google and-
video.
yeah.
Yeah, they're not
RSS.
watching the video form. Carlos basically always has this big beard and he shaved it down, so it looks like a new man.
Oh man, I'm a new man. I'm fresh like a baby's butt right there, man. Fresh like a baby's butt. Yeah, man. So it's good to
So-
see you. How was Disney? Speaking of coming back.
Our vacation was good. We had on and off days, and it was really good, relaxing time. It was hot. I mean, I don't think you can avoid
That's an
that.
understatement.
But yeah, but we did a park and then rest, relax, hang out at the pool, eat some good food, and then of course hit another park and then did the same thing before we left. So
Yeah,
no, it was
did
a
you-
great
did you get-
time, man.
Do you have tacos at the
No,
at the
I
lunch
have
that I
tacos.
sent you?
And look, and I know there was a lot of things from our last video, and I'm not knocking anybody again. Let me just reference that, right? I'm not knocking anybody. If you go with the big crowd, it is what it is. Sometimes you do,
Right,
and I
right.
love tacos. I love tacos, and I don't mind a hole in the wall. Um, you know, and that was a big crowd of the picture you sent me about, the family having tacos
Sure
and
it
pulling up
was.
pulling up their cooler with all the food. Hey man, you gotta always
Everything
do.
was in that cooler, man. Poor man.
But
Whoever had to drag that thing around all day had those tacos ready to go, bro.
You know
It was
what
an
I would have
Instagram
said?
post.
You know what I would have done though?
What?
Completely honest, I
I
would
would
have
have put the
probably had
camera
like,
away.
no, I probably would have had one taco and then be like, oh, okay, I'll be right back. And then, well, you guys gonna be here, okay? And then I would have got lost, and I would have got me some food, and then it came back like nothing happened, just maybe with the water, and be like, oh, you guys are done. Oh yeah, I wasn't that hungry.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah,
That way no one sees you. Oh my gosh. These guys were, there's an for those of you that may not know what we're talking about. So there's an Instagram video that was going around that this Spanish family of like, bro, I think it might have been like 15 or 12 people. They all
Yeah.
decided to go
It
to
makes
Disney.
sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. I get it. You don't want to spend, $8 a hot dog. I get it. But they were at Disney and they found a little shade somewhere and they opened up this cooler and they're making tacos. With the heat, I guess, inside the cooler, the tortillas are heated
I'm
up.
sure-
Like everything's
sure-
ready, bro.
Dude, I'm sure they were fine because I don't know if you ever watched the Netflix show of the tacos. It's called a sudadero. That
Oh, it's
basically
a great,
they basically do the same thing. It's different, but it's the same concept.
Yeah.
A big family like that, I would have probably done the same thing. That's not what I meant. I was just meaning more like when you're like super like trying to cut every corner, that kind of scenario. Like when you go in a big group
Bro,
like that, it's
you go to
understandable.
Disney. You go to Disney, you got to cut some corners. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, I mean some people cut some corners, right? Like, but I get it. I get it. It is everything. It is
Oh,
a
I
little
love it.
pricey. Well, look, like an ice cream is like $6.50, right? A
Shoo!
churro is $6.50. Or you want a
Dang.
water is $3.50. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
man. Yeah,
So-
everything's
so
got
I get
everything
it.
ends in a 50 over there. There's no
Well,
0. It's either
it's like
50
they're
or
sponsored by 50
99.
cents. They're sponsored by 50 cents. Yeah.
You
tell
want
you
to sit
one
down?
thing-
It's 50 cents.
But I'll
Oh
tell
my
you a
God.
trick. I'll tell you 2 tricks.
What's your
Alright.
trick? Yeah. Let's do. You know what? This isn't on the schedule, folks. Being spontaneous here. What are your Disney tricks, Alex? Because I don't
So
have any
look,
Disney tricks. I don't think I've
if you-
developed any tricks.
No, listen. If you're on a budget and water is
Hacks.
ridiculous. Yeah, water is ridiculous. $3.50 a bottle, and especially if it's hot, you're thirsty, you're gonna be
Oh, man.
drinking.
Yeah.
You can go to any concession stand, and you can always ask for a cup of water. 100%, they always give you one because they want you hydrated. They don't advertise it or nothing because obviously they want you to buy the bottled water. Why not, right?
Of course.
But you can always ask, and they always give you water. So
Are
that's
they like
trick
the
number one.
mouthwash cups? Are
Well,
they
they're
that
like a
size?
they're like a kid size cup. So
Okay.
it's like a
Oh,
kid
that's
size
decent.
cup.
That's
I
decent.
mean, and they'll give you water full, and you can ask for as many as you want. You
Yeah.
can be like, hey, can I get 3 cups? And then you got 3 cups, and you know what I'm saying. So
That's probably what
they don't.
the taco family did.
Yeah, they don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah. And also another trick from an old veteran, because you do it's hot, it's sweaty, and say if you got a little bit and you're a little bit of meat, right? Like meaning
Yeah.
like you're a little
Like
bit on
a
the
like a
overweight
little
size.
like a
No,
like
you
a
basically
bacon
put
patty melt. Like a patty melt.
that's
You're like a patty melt.
so basically you put
We
a
got
little
some
bit
patty
of
melts.
deodorant. You put deodorant between your legs or whatever. It keeps you from sweating and grinding and I'm not gonna. I've tried it and it
Let me
works.
ask
It
you. I was
works.
gonna say, does it work?
No, I've tried it and it actually does work. It keeps you
Did
from
you
not
did
sweating
you
and not getting like rash or anything like that,
Yeah, yeah, because you're
because
all
it's
day
because
out
you're
there.
sweating all day. Yeah, you're sweating
Yeah,
all
yeah,
day.
yeah,
It
yeah.
does help. So that's
Yeah.
tip
Did
number
you
two.
how many times did you have to reapply?
No, no, you just do it in the morning before
Just
you
one
leave the
time? Just
hotel.
one time?
Yeah, that's it.
Did you
One time.
use the gel based or the talc based?
Well, it's just whatever deodorant you have. I would just say use whatever you have.
I guess you give speed stick a different kind of name, huh? Like
No, I
there's a whole new
mean
meaning to speed stick now.
it's a trick that an old veteran people, someone that's like, hey, you do this kind of stuff
Oh
when it's
god,
hot and
that's
sweaty,
great.
and you'll feel comfortable the whole day and not even
No,
worry
it's
about
good.
it.
No, it's that's good. Is that your only two hacks, two tricks?
I mean,
Any advice for those waiting in line? Do you do the
well,
whole, oh hey, are you over there? And then you just find your way towards the front?
nah, it's kind of.
Okay.
Oh, let me tell you something, and I'm sorry to all those people, but
I'm
so
sorry.
yeah, sorry to all those people, but here's a trick. If you go with an infant that's like less than 2 years old, right? First
Yeah,
of all, you
you
don't
play
pay
the
for them,
game.
right? But they don't meet the requirement height for some rides. So what you
Right.
do is, you tell them is like, hey, we're gonna do the parent
Cyclone.
swap, the
Uh-huh. Oh,
parent
okay.
swap,
Got it.
right? So what they do, they get your ticket and they make it a fast pass. So like even say your family has gone through, well, you can just as soon as they come out, you can take another person with you and you can just go through the fast lane.
Yeah,
Now you can pretend like say if not everybody wants to ride, so you
of
can
course.
pretend like you go like, hey, um, where they're gonna go and then we're gonna do parent swap. They do your tickets as a fast pass,
Yeah.
and then you just go and you just go fast pass. Okay, we already rode. Let's go to the next one. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? It's
gotcha.
you gotta be smart about it. You can't be showing up every 10 seconds to the same person. You just gotta be like,
Because
oh,
they're
that's a
not going
new
to remember
person.
you because they see the same person. I mean, well, they see different people
Yeah,
every 20
correct.
seconds. Yeah.
But if they saw me 5 minutes ago and I try to go again, it's like, oh, what's going on? It's like that's too soon.
Mm,
Because when
mm.
the hour it's an hour and it's 110 minutes
Whew, yeah,
to
the
get on the
wait,
ride.
of course, of course.
So it's like, wait a minute, you're already here. So just be and then of course if there's a shift, then yeah, you go again because they're not gonna remember you.
Of course. How many times did you do that, Alex?
I did it quite a bit actually.
Oh.
Because we because we
I was
actually
hoping you
did
wouldn't
like
snitch on yourself, man, but it sounds like you
no
already did.
no I did because we did actually legit like they would ride the ride and then we would come out and then I would ride it, but there was like like one of them, it was towards the afternoon. I told my wife like, look, we want to ride that one again. Let's just go say that you guys are gonna ride. So I did do it like the way I'm saying the trick and it works.
Yeah.
But there were most of the time it was because they were riding a ride and then we would ride it again.
Of
But
course, of course. Well, I mean, you're not breaking the law, right? You're breaking the rules, and that happens, man. So, listen, I just want to say thank you on behalf of those that are listening. Want to thank you for these hacks. But
yeah.
speaking of breaking the law, tell me about. Have you seen what's going on with Yolanda Saldivar, or as they say in the movie, Saldivar? You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
I
about?
think yeah,
You know who
yeah,
that
no, for
lady
sure.
is?
It's the person that was running Selena. It's a famous musician from the Hispanic culture
Right,
that
bro.
she
I
was
feel
only
like that
23.
picture. I feel like that mugshot that I sent you that link on. I feel like I've seen her around town. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like
I
I've
know,
seen her
right?
around town.
It does. She does look super familiar. But for those who don't know, she used to run Selena's fan club and also some of her boutiques, and she was embezzling money. and Selena went over to confront her, and basically end up in altercation. She took out a weapon, shot her, caused some arteries or whatever. Anyway, she passed away,
Right.
and
Right.
this got life in prison, and she's able to for life to what get parole in 2025.
Yeah, man.
But the funny thing is, she requested a trial or a mistrial or something because some evidence or something is crazy. It's like, dude, you shot this woman.
Like you can't
Another,
get around this, right? Like you
uh,
can't say there was a mistrial. You can't say they didn't have the like. You cannot. I know you're trying, and I appreciate the enthusiasm, right? But this
yeah.
isn't going to work, right? This isn't going to work. But
At the end
bro,
of the day, you shot her.
yeah, bro, she's out in 2 years though.
Well, she's eligible, right?
Yeah,
Obviously,
man.
she's gonna probably get released, but
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I mean, that's crazy, dude.
That is crazy, man. It's incredible how long. I mean, dude, okay, let me ask you this. And this is just a random question. I don't know. You tell me, maybe those that are listening, do you remember where you were when this took place? Like when she was shot and the lady was stuck at the hotel with her and she was holding herself hostage at the hotel where she shot Selena? Do you remember where you were?
I mean, I was in California. I remember that. I remember
Uh-huh.
watching. It was almost like I'm sorry, the uh, OJ Simpson scenario, right? Where everybody was glued to the TV. It
Right,
was
right.
all
Because
over
it's in that white
Hispanic.
Bronco. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all over the Hispanic. I remember sitting there and watching, and I was intrigued. I don't remember the exact location that I was at, but I do remember being glued to the TV, and because my parents and everybody was glued to the TV, and it's like, what's
Yeah.
going on? This girl just shot Selena, and it's like, oh look, then she's in the stand. So it was a big deal, and I just remember being and watching it.
Yeah,
Do
man.
you
Yeah.
remember exactly?
Dude, I remember it like if it was yesterday, man. I was a kid. I was, of course, way younger. I was in the car. We were in the car and we were traveling as a family to Mexico. Like we were in the
Mm.
car driving to Mexico. We were on our way heading into Texas, like into Texas. And we don't go through Corpus, right? We don't
Yeah.
if you're going to Mexico where we're from, you don't go through Corpus, right? We go through Houston and make our way down that way. But I remember sitting in the car and I remember listening to everything over the radio because it was on every single radio
Yeah,
station, right?
everywhere. Everywhere.
Everywhere. And they
Especially
were
if you were in
talking
Texas,
about it.
dude. I can imagine
Oh, dude, it was
everyone talking.
nuts. It
Yeah.
was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. And we were in the car as we're listening to the whole thing play out, man. It was, I remember it was hot. The windows were rolled down, right? I remember having a bologna sandwich in my hand, right? A bologna sandwich in my hand and listening to the radio and trying to figure out what is about to happen.
Man.
Craziest thing. But you know what's even crazier, bro? That there's something called a radar online that they reported that Yolanda, the lady who killed her,
Mm-hmm.
her prison job. Did you see that? Her
Yeah.
prison job is to pass out food trays from a cart to her other offenders in her cell area. Like that's her thing of what she's doing in jail. Could you imagine being in jail and being the lady who killed Selena? Isn't
I
that
mean,
just wouldn't that be crazy to you?
it's like
But I mean, you
okay,
got other
yeah,
crazies in there, right?
nah, but it's like, dude, this
This
girl
is
shot
Selena,
Selena. Like,
right?
yeah,
Right, right,
like
right.
okay, so she gets out of prison in 2025. Let's just say that it goes through. What do you do? Everyone's gonna hate you. I mean, even though it already
I mean, what if
happened.
something happens to her as she comes out? Did you hear about that guy in Chicago recently?
No,
Did you hear
which
about
guy?
that? There's a guy who was in jail, walks out, right? He's free. He served his last day, walks through the gate. As soon as he walks through the gate as a free man, done.
But why? Because
I
he.
mean, I don't know. As gangs, I
Oh,
guess I don't know. But my question is, I hope, right? I hope there's not anybody out there just counting down the days and ready to hurt this lady. You know what I mean? Like that's a tough situation.
yeah.
But how do what do you do now, right? What do you do now? And I'm sure she feels bad, bro. I'm sure she regrets it. I'm sure it keeps her up at night, bro. But it's been how long has it been?
I mean,
It's been 30
what?
years now. Did she get 30 years
Yeah, what would
out?
have been?
92, right? No, no,
No,
no,
I
no,
think it
no. It
was
wasn't
95.
92. 95.
95. Yeah,
95,
because she won
bro.
a Grammy in 94. So yeah,
Anyway,
so
I thought that was interesting because listen, 2025 is literally around the corner, man.
she's okay. So she's eligible for parole in March 2025.
Right, right.
But think about it like this: like, what do you do at that point?
Although she still keeps her eyebrows on fleek, man. That's pretty impressive. Look at those eyebrows.
Think about it like this,
Perfect,
Carlos.
man.
If Selena would have accused her for embezzling money, and she would have gone in jail for embezzlement, she would have served like five
Lighter,
years,
lighter
10
sentence.
maybe,
Yeah, man. Yeah,
maybe
man. White
three
collar
years.
crime. Yeah.
Maybe Selena would have been like, you know what? It's not even worry about you. Go do your own thing, and she
Right.
wouldn't even press charges and
Right.
whatever, and she would have been scot free. But she decided like, oh, I'm not going to jail, and now you go to jail for murder.
Oh man. But you don't
I don't
think
know.
in
It's
those
crazy.
moments, I'm sure. You know what I mean? You just
Yeah.
don't think that far out in those moments. And there's some other things inside this whole mess, bro, that, perhaps maybe she had a crush on Selena. She was in love with
No.
Selena. There's always those type of rumors. But, man, I thought it was very interesting, especially for the Hispanic community, right? The Spanish community, when you think about Yolanda Salazar, that's like, you say that name and you're like, whoa, you took it there. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
pretty impressive that in a matter of, less than 5 years, she's up for parole. And what do you do now? You know what I
Well,
mean?
you
You're
know what,
that
Carlos?
lady.
Her life came crashing down, just like we're in the due for the market crashing.
Oh man.
We're in a time for a correction, or at least that's what the people from that are
Oh,
more
yeah, man.
invested into the everyday news and study the numbers more than we do is they feel like they were due for a correction pretty soon.
Yeah. I listen, I don't know if I can tell. I don't, it is not my job. It is not my duty to predict a crash. What my job is, what my duty is to make sure my stuff is in line, right? Inflation has doubled, right? We're at a 5%, where national
Hmm.
average over the years is at a 2%, inflation rate. And the only reason inflation and the inflation rate is where it's at is because right? There is so much demand and there is such a lack of availability,
A
right?
product,
So
yeah,
that right,
availability, yeah.
so that causes every market to go through the roof, and that's why you have a 5% inflation. So we have never in the history of our country have ever been sitting at this place in history with a 5% inflation rate. And the Department of Treasury is saying that they don't foresee increasing the interest rates right now, which could be a plus, right? It'll help
Hmm.
balance things out. It'll help create a wash in between. But look, if anything, I would encourage you, Alex, or anybody, if I'm in the hot seat, what I would say is, instead of being concerned about a market correction or a market crash, make sure that when you're investing in these type of conversations or in this type of route we're heading in the financial market, that you are sticking to a COVID proof, right? A COVID proof stock, a stock or a company that is going to survive the worst, right? That you
Hmm.
hold and you hold long, right? And if you're going to go in and you're going to go short, right? You better go in, get out, and be done with it. Because if you hold it longer, in a matter of minutes, in a matter of seconds, the market could crash. We saw what happened to Robinhood just yesterday on IPO. We won't talk about Robinhood today. We'll wait for next week on that, Alex. But that's just the way the market is. And again, you need to focus on stocks that are long holds. What do you think
Well,
about it, man?
no. So what I would say is, you obviously want to invest in the right stocks and make sure that some of them are, like you said, Corona or whatever, COVID-19
Recession proof, right? Yeah, yeah,
recession
yeah, yeah, yeah.
proof, whatever you want to call them. But I would say also make sure you have, so you want to invest obviously, but you also want to have cash on the sitting on the sideline, because if this does happen, it's a huge buying opportunity
Right.
to get into a lot of these stocks that
Cop
are
it.
potentially could go
Cop it.
down.
That's right. That's right. No,
So
no, no,
you
absolutely,
definitely
Alex.
want to have cash set aside just for this, man, I gotta tell you right now, like I'm almost like 70% cash, just and I do have, money invested in some, but I'm also just waiting on the sideline because if stocks are do start going down,
They will
and
rebound.
we don't know what's going to happen with the housing market either, because obviously we know that there's what, like 2 million or something they said, or delinquents on, or forbearance on their mortgages and rent and all this stuff, which I
Oh,
think
that's
is going to get
yeah,
extended. But
no,
eventually,
no.
no.
Apparently, I don't know if you heard about this, man. It just happened today. AOC, and whether you're a fan of AOC or not,
I mean, I like
they
her pushing the
just.
buttons, I'll tell you
I
that.
mean, I think it's healthy to push buttons once in a while, right?
Yeah.
But what she has mentioned is that when the moratorium was supposed to end tomorrow, Congress just went on break for the next 7 weeks.
Mm. So it's going to be a bloodbath, probably.
It will be. It will be. It will be. And
Well,
I
look,
think this is
depending.
this is all. It's a matter of things, right? Could be gearing up. Who knows, right? We'll see
Yeah.
how this plays out. But they all know. Everyone knows what's at hand. Everyone knows
And
what's at stake.
that's what I'm saying, is like, you want to make sure if you're financially healthy, you want to have cash on hand, because if things do start jumping down, you want to be able to buy and not get freaked out. Because, and then keep this in mind, if you buy something that's already down, it could have not been its peak, right? It could
Right.
still could have keep going down. So just kind of hold into the right pattern, or set your targets at automatically at certain points. If you're like, okay, if it keeps going down, but I'm willing to invest, like, let's just say I'm looking at a stock, and I want to invest at $60. Well, maybe I hold off, and I let it keep going down, and then I can put it like, okay, if it goes up to this number, I'll buy. But
Right.
it could still keep going down, so you don't want to actually get into it just yet. But anyways, Carlos, I just think that's fascinating that uh, so many people are in forbearance. We don't know what the market is doing. It's going up and down daily, and we just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, man. And there's again, I could sit here and spitball, right? I can sit here and spitball and say, look, if you want to hold on to specific stocks, there's so many recommendations out there. Monty
Hmm.
Fool is saying, focus on Square, right? The fintech stock.
Hmm.
Focus on Intuitive Surgical. These are long-term holds. These are recession proof. These are COVID proof stocks.
Sorry.
We could start naming them and going through the list. But the key is that you do the research, right? You do the research and really watch what has bounced back, right? If there's any advice I could say to you when it comes to stocks is, if you see a drop, if you encounter a drop, look at the historical accuracy behind it, right? Look at the
Hmm.
historical trends. If they bounce back, hey, they'll bounce back. Hold on to it,
Yeah.
but make sure that you are in it for the long haul. Because again, if you're looking for that short sell, you better be quick, you better be proactive, and don't let that money just sit, because in a matter of seconds, that market could tank.
You know,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
talking about tanking and stuff like that. I don't know if you've seen, but the government, I'm sure you've seen, but the government has been giving Tesla a hard time because there's been a lot of accidents with the autopilot on the
yeah, man.
vehicles, and
Yeah,
how to
yeah,
getting
you saw
it.
that.
We all seen the videos of people,
It's
driver going
great.
in the being in the back seat, just sipping the coffee and just chilling, or
It's
they're
so
or
great.
sleeping, or he jumps into the passenger seat and let the car drive. And so
Yeah,
there's been accidents going on that the government started giving Tesla more of scrutiny on what's going on.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's a
And what?
safety thing, right? I'm
Yeah.
a multitasker, but if you tell me I can get in my car, check this out. I can get in my car will drive me to my next
Hmm.
location, to the next destination. I'm going to be on my phone. I'm going to be making calls. I'm going to be looking at emails. I'm going to be updating spreadsheets. Like, that is going to be me. And all they're asking me to do is to put my hand on the steering wheel. Bro, I got this thumb. This thumb can make wonders happen, right?
So
And
the
I get
reason,
it.
no, I hear you, and the reason why I was bringing it up is because, what do you think about Tesla starting to use cabin cameras? to make sure that the drivers are paying attention, not just the thumbs on the steering wheel like you're saying. There's
Yeah.
actual cameras to make sure that they're paying attention. And let me tell you this also, though, Carlos, is supposedly these cameras inside your cockpit, it's gonna stay in your car. Of course, they could probably get subpoenaed. They're not gonna be transmitting anywhere unless you turn on where you're sharing the information. And who would
Right.
want to do that, right? But
Right. Right.
what do you think about them basically spying on you if they wanted to?
You know, I whether it's a car, Alex, it's happening regardless,
Hmm.
right? Whether it's my car, whether it's my computer, whether it's my phone listening, whatever the case, there is always going to be an opportunity for some platform, some company out there that is totally immersed in technology that's going to find a way to gather data on me, right? And to use it for their benefit, right? And against me in certain ways. You know, I see it as you're attacking me when you show up a product that you know is my weakness, right? I think you're
Hmm.
attacking my wallet because you know what I've been looking for. But
Yeah.
that's just smart marketing, right? That's
Or
just
even you
knowing the
don't even have to
customer and the
say it
data point.
sometimes. You just thinking it and it's like it knows. It's like, oh,
It's
I
because
actually
it
do need
knows,
that.
well, you got to remember it knows your
It knows your
behavior
patterns.
patterns.
Yeah,
Yeah, it knows your
exactly.
behavior patterns. If you're looking for this, then this is going to make sense, right? It takes me back to remember that movie with Will Smith? That was such a great movie, and so many people forget about it. Where he's like a gambler, but he also has this
The
theft.
Focus. It's called
Focus.
Focus.
Yes, Focus. Such a great movie,
Yeah,
right? But it
with
was all these things that you see, right?
Meg-
You know, there is a so check this out. There is a rule of thumb that's called a touch point, Alex, and I use it in my own business. I'm not going to lie, but the key is that if you touch a person 27 times in a specific time frame, they'll make that click. Check that
you
out.
broke up for me.
27 times, right? If you can touch a person 27 times, if there's 27 touch points, whether it's text messaging, whether it's an email, whether it's
Okay.
a digital, whatever you want to call it, the rule of thumb is that if I connect with you, if I have 27 touch points, you'll at least click on what I'm sending you. Isn't that something? That's the
Yeah.
behavior pattern, right? That's the research that's out there. And when you fall back and you talk about these cabin cameras, look, man, it is what it is. If you want to watch me and be a creep, go ahead and watch me be a creep. But one of the things that more and more I'm starting to realize when it comes to this is where we're heading, man. This is where we're heading.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think so, 100% where this is where we're heading. We're already starting to see surveillance through the city where you got intersections that have cameras and everything's going to be.
Bro, you ever been to
I
England?
mean, no, I have not been to
You go to
England.
the UK. If we have any UK listeners, I'm sorry. I think I've talked about the UK once here, and I didn't enjoy my time there. However, spent the whole 2 weeks in the UK. Alex, I'm not gonna lie to you. Every corner I turned, there was a camera. Streets, tube, which is their train,
Mhm.
wherever, whenever. Unless I'm out in the country, Alex. Unless I was out in Windsor looking at some queen
Yeah.
castle, right? There was cameras everywhere.
And that's just
Everywhere.
because it's hard to get the network out. I mean, even though there's like uh wireless internet you can get to some of these devices, but it's just that it doesn't make logical sense, right? You're trying to get high uh and you know this is how it starts. First they're going to want to go into the high crime areas
Right,
and then
right,
to put surveillance in there. And then I was like, well, we want to keep your suburbs safe and everything. So now they put
right,
them in
right.
suburbs. And then now it's like, okay, well, we really need to check this other. And now they're everywhere. So it's
Yeah,
just a matter of time. I mean, we're seeing other countries that are starting to, like, I think India has a very sophisticated AI, which recognizes people. They were actually, I mean, sometimes you can use it for good too, right?
right,
They
right.
were able to get so many children that were lost through facial recognition in their software. So there's a, I guess it
Yeah,
just
there's a
really
pro and
depends.
con, right? There's a pro and con
Yeah, if
to
you
it.
trust your government to do the right thing, and then also if you're doing the right thing yourself.
What do you have to worry about, right?
Yeah.
Totally,
But
totally, totally.
Carlos,
So,
and also, oh, staying on this topic with Tesla,
yeah, man.
you know,
Try not to
I
talk too
was
much about Tesla because we talked about Tesla last week.
no, I know, but check this out though.
Yeah,
And I think this is super smart. Potentially could suck for Tesla owners, but here's the thing. A guy was talking about he has a Mustang and he was traveling from New York down south, southeast, right?
yeah,
And it was hard for him to find stations that were to charge his car. Obviously, Tesla, way ahead of the game, has stations everywhere,
yeah.
but they're unique to Tesla. Elon was talking about potentially having them buy a product where it allows them to an adapter and a subscription to use their stations to charge their vehicles. We all know that with you doing that as well, Tesla is able to pull information from their competitors and get information from the vehicle,
Absolutely.
distance, power, battery drainage,
You just
everything.
because you're
Now,
plugging in, bro. It's a
so
USB.
yeah, correct. So it's like so you're gonna be able to
Oh, let me
here
get that
here
middle
you're
part.
gonna
Wow,
so
wow, that went back.
yeah, no, but look, dude, it's crazy because I see the brilliance of it,
Oh
getting
yeah,
things from your competitor, but it would suck for Tesla owners if you get to a Tesla like stations and all you have is different vehicles, right? They're all kind of weird cars, unless you did some stations where they would not allow the connector. And then you say if you had six stations, well, three allow and three won't. Three are dedicated for Tesla vehicles only. It would
of
make
course.
sense. And but I thought it was fascinating.
It is. It's absolutely. Listen, the world that we live in is going to be more and more in touch with technology, man, and it's just a matter of time. But I did think that was an interesting article when you talk about Tesla and we're talking about these cabin cameras. It's just strange that when I'm driving down the road, right? I'm driving down the road and I look to my left and I see a Model S, right, where one hand his left hand is on the steering wheel and his right hand is playing Tetris on a screen, right? Whoa, right? Here I am getting nailed by a cop because I'm texting 4 words and this guy's playing Tetris, right? The difference is it's a self-driving car and it has, a gazillion sensors and cameras around that if something happens, he's protected. That's great, right? But
But
what
I
it
think
does to me as a competitor, as someone who's driving a competitor vehicle, makes me say, man, I might as well just go after that Tesla, right? I might as well get me something like that.
Yeah, I think the government top vehicle safety rating agency took away their rating because doing the camera
Right.
autopilot, they just say or they remove the radar detection or the radar sonar whatever they were using
Yeah.
that elevated them to get that as certification of safety. Well, since they removed it, well, they're saying, well, the car's less safe now because they're relying. It's not that it's less safe. It's just that it's relying on this new technology, which is called like a vision radar or something like that. They call it Tesla Vision.
Yeah, the Tesla Vision. Yep, yep, yep. But you know what, man? Hey, that's just the way it works. That's just the way it happens. And at some point, I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. Tesla could get sued.
Yeah,
Something happens, right? You got children in the back, or you've got another driver and the software goes wrong, the software goes back. Imagine what could take place when you're plugging in at a station and someone decides to corrupt it with a virus. Like you have no idea what kind of access point you're creating, right? So and that could lead up to many lawsuits, but I mean, and it's not the first time, these tech companies have gotten sued. I mean, did you hear the recent one about Google?
yes, and that's I think that's our next topic. Give me a second, Carlos. Here.
Yeah, man.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
back. Sorry, I had
That way
some
you know.
technical difficulties there, but okay.
Time out.
No, yeah, I did hear about Tesla, Google getting sued, and it's just because a lot of companies that are not self-aware of what's going on and in the culture that we're living in, this cancel culture, and
Right.
everybody's equal and everybody's
Right.
got rights, and this is why I think Google's put themselves in this situation. And why don't you
They're in
kick
some
off
hot
with the
water.
actual? Yeah, go ahead, lead the
Yeah,
topic.
if I could break this down incredibly and be incredibly simple, and this is for the ladies out there. So there was four ladies who, who stepped out and they won this class action lawsuit because they were suing Google on gender equality, gender equity lawsuit against them because what they have found out that there's over 10,000 women who work for Google, and out of those 10,000 women were paid
Mhm.
$17,000 less, Alex. $17,000 less than their male counterparts who were in the same role, bro.
Roles, yeah.
They are in the same position, same exact roles and responsibilities, right? Their task duties, their TDRs, their KSAs, knowledge, skills, abilities are all balanced out, right? And at the end of the day, ladies were making 17 grand less, right?
And
Bro,
not just
that's,
that, Carlos.
they deserved it, man. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
they deserved it.
and not just that, they were also they found out that they were put in lower career tracks compared to the male colleagues. And with that, also resulting in receiving lower bonuses and salaries. So that's why they decided to leave and pursue this lawsuit.
Right, right.
And that's what I was saying about this cancel culture and everybody. And obviously, this one is straight out like, come on, man, you can't do that. It, they're lucky they got away with it for so long. And how much money did they end up paying out?
$2.5 million.
So 2.5. Do you think
Yep.
maybe it was they went off on a bargain and just like, okay, we agree to pay this amount. Who knows how much they would have actually had to pay with bonuses and all the and everything going on if they would have been paid the right, dollar value
Well, the
for their
worst part
work.
is, and this is even crazier, guys. And I don't know if you also know about this, but later on, Google was also sued that year because they were withholding data or data, however you want to say it, right, from holding compensation data for 3 months to the U.S. Department of Labor. Isn't that crazy?
Mm,
It's like
yeah.
it's if it's an ongoing thing, right? If it's a trending topic, if it happens more than once, obviously there's an agenda, guys, right?
So look,
Obviously
so
there's an agenda. Yeah.
yeah, there's an agenda, and also, they put some measures in place that are saying like, hey, some policies and practices are saying that we're not going to allow this to happen again after the, the righteous pay equality analysis or whatever that they did. So they went back and studied the past 8 years, and that's how they came up with the 2.5 or whatever. But
Right.
since their new compensation went into effect, there was a spokesman said that says that last year alone, Google made an upward adjustment of 2,352 employees across the company for a total of 4.4 million,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Good
And
job. Yeah. Good job,
so
guys.
what I'm saying? So it's like they know what's going on.
They
And
knew
then
what was
also
going
look,
on and they tried to fix it. They tried to fix it, right? They tried to fix it and they try to make it up with a $4.4 million. But here's the crazier part, man. The crazier part is they had a $17 billion.
billion. Yeah, I was just gonna mention that. It's like $17 billion in profit. And you're worrying
17
about.
billion
Yeah, and they're worried about like making sure
with
that
a
these
B.
women don't get paid. Like, come on, man,
Yeah,
pay
man.
them.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're
So,
not gonna go into another topic, but maybe in a different topic we can talk about because I had a discussion earlier today with a couple female family members down here, my wife and my sister-in-law, my sister over there, is because they were talking about equal pay in
in the
football.
workplace,
Is soccer actually soccer versus
football.
so we were discussing about the equal pay or not equal pay, I should say, in football, soccer, known in the U.S.
Yeah.
Um, why males get paid more than females, and we'll go in another topic because I think we need to go more in depth as far as what's going on. And there's some other interesting topics, Carlos, that maybe we can look into. But Microsoft was forced. Is facing a subpoena for millions of documents in Google antitrust case. There's that. There's that. There's Amazon getting fined a record of 887 million over EU privacy violations. So there's a lot of things going out there that these big companies are doing, and if they're not,
You got to remember, these are the things that keep them profitable, Alex.
yeah, for sure.
That's all it is, man. That's all it is. Look, I'm all for business. I'm all for capitalism, right? I'm a
Hmm.
capitalist pig to the fullest. But at the end of the day, you still need to be, treating people with equality and respect, right? I mean, that gender piece. I'm proud of Google for cleaning it up, right? I really am.
Hmm.
I'm
Well,
proud
they
of
had
them
no
for
choice
cleaning it
either,
up.
right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. But hey, that means that somebody's watching, right? But at least you responded, right? At least you responded. You took ownership and you made it happen. So, it's certainly something to think about, that whether you have a small business or you're working within one of these big businesses, hey, just gives you more insight, right? And if you're running a small business, gives you the insight of, hey, I need to remember I need to take care of my people, right? Because at the end of the day, they'll always find out. There are ways for them to find out how they're being treated if you're giving favoritism to a specific gender, right? And that's why you always got to be on the up and up, man.
And Carlos, real quick, yeah, I think all those points you hit were pretty solid. And then let me, if I asked you right now, and I'll give you one of them, you can get the other one.
Yeah,
If someone had $1,000, where can they invest that money right now? And just that we know, we talked about earlier in the show about being recession or recession proof or coronavirus proof or whatever, all these little scenarios that are happening around the world. And I think
yeah,
if you had $1,000, I would take
1,000 bucks.
500 bucks
Yeah,
and I would just divided equally maybe. And my top pick, and I think Motley Fools also is recommended the same one, is Johnson and Johnson. And we talked
mm,
about obviously they're doing the vaccine, they're doing this, they've been forever. They're doing the diapers, they're doing all these medical supplies. So it's a company that's not going anywhere. It pays
yeah,
good dividends, and that's a good spot to put some money away.
yeah. I'm gonna jump in and say my pick is going to be Square. I really enjoy Square. I think Square is leading the way in certain ways in the fintech world. I think there is potential for Square to do a whole lot more. I love the fact that this POS system, I use Square. This is why I'm a
Hmm.
big believer of Square, Alex. I believe this point of sale system is just fantastic for a business owner, whether you're a small business owner, medium size, or even large, right? If you wanted to go down that route. I think the stock is undervalued right now. I believe the ticker is SQ, of course. It's part of the New
Hmm.
York Stock Exchange, and it's right now a share. It's 247. So you might be able to squeeze in a little under 5 shares. If you're wanting to go straight for it and just buy it directly. I believe it's undervalued. The market cap is at 112 billion. So definitely some room for growth. And I
Hmm.
think, honestly, and I'll even say this, Alex,
And
these
it's not that
smaller banks.
it's because they're using Cash App as well.
Oh,
I think they
absolutely.
control Cash App. So I think
Oh,
Cash
yeah,
App is
yeah.
leading the future of how we interact and how we do business.
And the RFID, you could pay RFID. Here's the thing: I've been able, and I'll tell you this, I've taken competitor rates, okay, and I'm just going to use this as an example. If you're a
Hmm.
small business owner right now, right, go to your smallest bank in town, find out what their charges. If they have a POS system, right? Find the smallest bank, go to the medium sized bank, then go to the big boys. Pull those three RFPs, right? Those RFPs meaning you're just going to pull three quotes. Pull those three quotes, and I promise you, Alex, I promise you, and this is research that I personally have done. I have noticed this. No one has been able to meet or beat Square's numbers. Nobody.
Yeah.
when
Well,
it comes
it's the
to
same.
when it comes to equipment, and when it comes to point of sale, and when it comes to these sales, and the ability,
And
right,
and
and the ability to
and
do e-commerce that's involved and included.
and Bitcoin fees.
Yeah, yeah,
If you're
no,
into
it's true.
Bitcoin, they're cheaper than Coinbase.
It's true. Absolutely.
And then once you get a certain number, you're actually able to move it to your wallet, so it doesn't have to stay in the Cash App. But anyways, I think that wraps up the show, Carlos, and I think we hit some good points on where they can put their $1,000.
Yeah, man. Listen, today's quote is an inspirational quote, Alex. It's from the Eventu. It's called the Eventu, and I love this quote. I usually try to love all the quotes that I bring to the show, but this is one of my favorites, and I love it. It says, "If the plan doesn't work, change the plan, but never change the goal.
Mm.
If the plan just doesn't work, change the plan. Just don't change the goal." My name is Carlos.
This is Alex. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Love the beat.